Well, hello and welcome to Bowtie Life. I'm Bowtie David. We talk mostly about life in the garden. And today we're going to talk about a lot of cucumbers that we've harvested. I've got soaking in water right now. I read somewhere that if you soak your cucumbers that have been sitting in the fridge for a while, soak them in water for a while before you make pickles out of them, they'll actually do better. And so I'm trying it. They're actually mostly, for the most part, they're great pickles. There were a few that were getting a little bit maybe soft, and I just want to see if maybe we can firm them up a little bit, which is what soaking in water is supposed to do. We're going to do something a little bit different. I am using the Mrs. Wage's bread and butter pickles, and they are going to be spicy, all of them. I have 24 jars sitting out here, all with brand new lids. I made sure of it this time. I also have some rubber gloves over here that I'm going to use when we're processing these. Let me go over these peppers. We have Scotch Bonnet to go in a few. We have habanero to go in a few. We have some Fatali to go in a few. And we have peri peri. And these are kind of small peri peri, but we have a bunch of them that are nice and red, which means they're a little bit spicy. I haven't done any of this bread and butter pickles with any of these peppers yet, so I'm kind of interested to see what kind of flavors come out of these. So if we get 24 jars out of this, great. We are using the Presto Precise digital pressure canner. I've done a number of videos on this machine, and we're going to be using this to can up these pickles with just water bath canning, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, water bath canner, boiling water canning. So we're not using the pressure canning feature. And we'll see what we can get and see what kind of flavor profiles we get on these pickles. One thing that I intend to do is on each jar, when I put in a hot pepper, I want to slice one in half, make sure it's in the side so you can actually look at it and see what kind of pepper's in there. Sometimes, like especially the Scotch Bonnet and the Fatali, when they're all sliced up, you really can't tell which is which. So I want to be sure and leave part of each, like half of each pepper in the side so we can actually identify for sure. I've got a can down there of bread and butter pickles, and I don't know if it's Dragon Cayenne or Thai Hot. So not that that would make any difference, because off the plant they don't look any different. And someone didn't label, so not sure who we're going to blame for that. Anyway, let's get on with this. A lot of this is for my own notes, and see what we can do. See how many, we'll weigh how many pounds of cucumbers we have. These are big suyo long cucumbers, so they will be either spears or slices. I've got a mandolin that we'll use for part of them, and then we'll just kind of slice the rest of them up in spears to go in the jars. We are using small mouth canning jar, pint canning jars, and we have 24 of them out here. I don't think we're going to use all of them, but like I said, if we do, woohoo, there we go. We have lots more gifts to give away. I got people that like hot stuff, so that'll be fun. All right, that's the gist of this video. Let's get on with it. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So I've got about 10 pounds, a little over 10 pounds of cucumbers, which means when they're all sliced and dressed, it's going to come to right about 10 pounds. I have my protective gloves mostly on. This is the mandolin, 3-in-1 adjustable mandolin that we bought on Amazon. I forget how much it was. It didn't cost very much. It's made in China, Gramercy Kitchen Company. So I'm going to just start dressing these down. I'm going to do about half of these as slices and half of these as spears, and we will go from there. So I've been keeping a pretty close eye on the cucumbers. Really, I have. And so I finished chopping up all those cucumbers, that big pile. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go out and see if maybe I missed any more cucumbers out there that I could add to this batch. You know what? Yeah, there's a lot more out there. So there we go. We got pickle spears, we got pickle slices, everything we need for pickling a bunch of spicy bread and butter pickles. And I'll be putting in each pint jar, I'm probably gonna put in 1.5 habaneros, probably 2 Scotch Bonnets and probably 2 Fatali, and then several of those peri peri, and not in every one. I'm gonna do a few with each and leave it at that. The bread and butter pickle mix, basically you combine the distilled vinegar, sugar, and bread and butter pickle mix into a large non-reactive skillet, not skillet, pot. That means something like stainless steel, not aluminum. They are very specific about that. I think the aluminum will react with the vinegar, so, or something in there. So anyway, I'm gonna get these all ready for processing. I'm gonna go ahead and stuff the jars, see how many jars we get out of this. Then I'm gonna get this running, the dissolving of the sugar and the mix here, anything that's in the mix that will dissolve. And while that's going, I will get out the jars. They're sterilizing in the dishwasher right now, and we will get started. So I'm very excited. So over here, I am going to begin to pack the spears and slices into jars. I'll do some with spears, some with slices. I've cut all my spears the length of this section of the jar so that they will fit in snug and tight. It will be a good tight fit in there. So this is going to take a while to pack these. I do have Mrs. Wages and the sugar and vinegar all dissolving in a pot right here. So hopefully about the time I finish with these, that stuff will be ready for me. And so here we go with the peppers. Now I've got 4 rows made up of 2 jars of spears and a jar of slices on each one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these up here. These are extra. They may end up not being at all spicy. I don't know. What I'm going to do first, we're going to start with the habanero. And I'm going to put a complete half of a habanero in the top of each of these 3 jars. In fact, I'm going to pull another one in here because we got a lot of habaneros. And we're going to push that down in there. And then we're going to chop up another habanero for each jar. And I do have my protective gloves on. I do not have eye protection on, though I may wish I did before this was over. I don't know. We'll have to see. So I'm going to put a complete one. So we got 1.5 habaneros in each one of these. Now, this video is truly a note to myself. These are my own personal logs of what I do with everything and what goes on and so forth. And so I can be able to look back and see how much of what I did and know what I need to do. Now, I don't know how much of these habaneros to put in each jar. I did some research, and it's so funny because I found a few recipes that said 1 habanero per jar. Doesn't say how big those. Some habaneros are big, some are little tiny. These are kind of small, kind of wimpy even. That's my concern. And so I'm going to go ahead and put 1.5 of these relatively small ones in each jar, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to eat them anyway. I like hot stuff. I know cousin Bowtie Brett, who's appeared on our videos before, I know he'll enjoy them, and I could probably find a few others that would love to suffer through some habanero sweet and sour, bread and butter pickles. These do smell spicy though. My, oh my. Nice thing about these is if I run out, I have more of just about all these. The only thing I'm kind of short on is the Peri Peri, so I'm a little concerned about those being able to fill 3 jars. We'll have to see, because remember, I'll want to put half of one. I'll complete half of one in each jar so I can later identify what the jar is. This is my brilliant scheme. And these things, according to the package, call for ½ inch of headspace. So it doesn't require a whole inch like those, what was it that we canned up before? Oh, the beans. Yeah, the beans. Okay, so there's our habaneros. Those look awesome. Incidentally, I have 19 jars. If you're familiar with my videos, that's exactly how many jars we did in our last big dill pickle canning. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I had 24 to go, and we're using 19 of them. So, putting half of a Scotch bonnet in each one of these. Now this Scotch bonnet, I'm very interested. I'm going to pull another one of these slices in here, and then we'll chop up a whole Scotch bonnet for each one. Now Scotch bonnet is not quite as hot as habanero, but you'll notice I'm putting in seeds and all, because it's the white stuff around the seeds that has all that heat in them, and that's what I'm looking for. These things are going to be toasty, going to make for a warm winter. So I'm going to continue on with these, and then we will start divvying out the vinegar, which we're going to split up among the Mrs. Wages mix with sugar and vinegar, which we're going to split up among all these jars, all 19 jars. And the rest, the instructions say, if you need more, just add hot vinegar to it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So here we go. Oh, the only other note is I will probably end up putting 2.5 of the Fatali in each one when I get to the Fatali. I got plenty of those. There's tons on the plants out there. So if I run out in my bowl here, I'll just run out and grab a few more. All right, so here we go. Okay, so if you've seen any of my videos about this Presto Precise digital pressure canner, you never plug it into an extension cord. It has to be plugged in directly into the wall. If I can grab it here. There we go. And the other thing, if you've ever seen my videos, I warn you not to put this underneath upper cabinets. This is well behind here. It doesn't blow up steam on there. The vents on the top of the pressure canner will blow up steam, and we don't want that messing up the wood on your upper cabinets. So we are not going to pressure can. We are going to water bath can. I just turn this. It goes back and forth. We're going to water bath can or a boiling water can. Press that, and the next thing it asks is, how long are we going to can for? I know for pints, we need to can these pickles for 10 minutes. So now it's going to start. It says to insert jars. Now it's going to start warming the jars. And so we're going to put on the lid. Now the jars I've got warmed in the dishwasher and sterilized and everything. We're just going to be putting these in here. This is boil water canning, so not pressure canning. You're never going to use the regulator on this process, so that gets set aside. And we're going to wait for this thing to warm up. It is pretty much guaranteed that we're going to need more boiling water for that pressure canner. So I'm going to have this pot ready with extra water. When we, not pressure can, see I said it, when we're water bath canning or boiled water canning, gonna need more water because those jars need to be underwater by 1 inch to 2 inches. So we most likely will be needing this extra water before all is said and done. So I have this on high, and this will be boiling by the time we're ready for it. Now, back to all these beautiful jars of pickles. We're going to start putting this mix in, and I'm going to put about 1/2 scoop in each. Nope. I'm going to put a little more than that in each. So remember, if we don't have enough liquid for these, the instructions say to use hot vinegar to finish filling these jars. So I am going to start by putting about that much in each jar of the full mix, full spice mix. Another reason why I'm not too worried about filling some of this with vinegar is these things have a lot of spice in them anyway. A lot of them do. And I have a feeling I'm going to be able to come back anyway and put more of this in here. I'm just trying to spread it out. And I am making a little bit too much of a mess. Between the vinegar and the peppers, this is strong up in here. Yes, it is. So as always, this is my notes to myself. I did put in the Mrs. Wage's Extra Crunch Calcium Chloride granules into every single jar here. This it's an eighth of a teaspoon for pints like this, and it just says it gives it extra crunch, and we've always enjoyed it. So the water bath canner is ready. It just beeped at me. Also, in the ever important category of notes to myself, I am wiping down all the jars, all the rims of the jars, with some vinegar. Very important. Sometimes I forget this and then I wonder when it doesn't seal or something happens. Did I really wipe it? So I'm getting this on video to prove to myself, future me, that yes, I actually did. Okay, rims are wiped. Quick note on tightening the lid. Remember, you're not tightening this all the way down. You just need to hold that lid in place. So what I do, I will let it spin itself, and then I will turn it 1/8 of a turn, not a quarter of a turn. I can barely turn it a quarter turn myself. That's a long way. More than that, way too much. Quarter of the turn is way too much. See, I spun it in and then turned 1/4 of a turn. That's it. I'm sorry. See, I said it. 1/8 of a turn, 1/8 of a turn, 1/8 of a turn. So as I said, it's pretty much a guarantee that you're going to need more water. Look there, it's barely covering. That is not enough water. It needs to be covering by about 1 inch. So that big pot of water I had boiling on the stove, I just poured a little bit of it in here to top this off at about 1 inch of coverage for each jar. And now we are ready to go. I'm going to put on the lid, and I'll cover this in detail in the last video, which there will be a link to in the very closing screen of this video. But we put that on, we turn it to lock. I did cover all the details of this in a couple of other videos, so I'm just trying to make this a little bit quicker video. See, it says here fill jar. It went through the process of warming jars, now it fill jars. Now we press it and it is heating. So it is going to start the process of the water bath canning. Now this isn't going to start counting right now. It's not going to start counting until that water in there is boiling. There's actually a temperature sensor inside this thing right here, so it knows how hot it is in there, and it will do it right. It's not going to start counting that down until it's ready to be doing the water bath canning, or what we call boiled water can. So it's been about 15 minutes. It still hasn't started this timer yet, but if you listen carefully, you can hear it is starting to boil. I just put the microphone end of my phone up close to that vent right there, and you can hopefully hear it boiling. That timer should be starting pretty soon here. So you can really hear it cooking now. The timer has officially started. It's changed to canning. It beeped twice at me, let me know. Here in a minute now, it's going to change, The little lock on the lever to undo the lid is about to lock, and we are in business here. Regulator is not on. We are just water bath canning, boil water canning. And you can see the timer has ticked down to 9 minutes. We are underway. It'll cool after this for about 10 minutes, I think it is. And it'll beep when it's done, and we can take the cans out. We'll put them over here and put on another batch of cans. So yes, I'm tired. With boil water canning, it's waiting to cool now. It's almost done. The little lock didn't pop up with boil water canning. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, it did its process. It did 10 minutes. It's on a 5-minute cool down, and it is just moments away from being done with this timer. And we are all ready to pull out the cans. It says here it's done. And I have my jar lifter. If you don't have a jar lifter, you need to get one. It's a cheap piece of equipment that will save you a lot of water burns. So it is still bubbling a little bit in there. I can hear it, but there is no pressure. There's no steam coming out of either of the little reliefs. Always open away from you, of course. Now, when you're lifting these jars out, I tell you what, I used to be bothered by the little bit of water that gets in the top there, and I would tilt it ever so slightly. Don't do that. What happens is the liquid inside can touch the seal and mess up the seal in your can. So keep those perfectly level and put them over on the cooling rack. These have to be on the cooling rack for 12 to 24 hours, and you can listen for the magical plink of the lids as these seal. The thing is, that water on top of those lids right there, this middle one, it's already gone. It'll disappear on its own pretty fast. Oh, did you hear that? Now, I did make sure that we had all new lids in here. After the bean incident, I went back and went through everything and made sure that we had all new lids in the right place, and even ruled out a few that might have been new, but I wasn't positive, so I went ahead and just ruled them out. Lids are cheap. Whenever we go to Walmart, we go and get some. I normally have a box of lids in my checkout at Walmart. And now we listen for the little plinks. Oh, there's one. And I'm just getting this ready for the next batch. Now it's, gotta get those jars in. I messed that up, didn't I? Cancel that. Insert jars. I did tighten all the jars. I hear water dripping over here. I don't know what that is. I hope I didn't have a jar crack. No, I don't smell any vinegar. So I have 19 jars. I can only fit 8 in here at a time. I will be doing 2 batches. Well, this is the second batch, so I'll be doing another batch after this. The problem is, on that final batch, I can't just put in 3 jars because they'll bounce all over the place and probably fall over. So what I do is, remember I had 24 jars at the very beginning of all this? Those other 5 jars will go in there with just water in them. No lid, no nothing, just water in them to hold things in place. That's it. That's the only thing. So this thing is ready. Insert jars. We don't want to warm, we want to go right to. Put that in. One of these 2 buttons lets me go forward. There it is. So now it's ready to water bath, or yeah, water bath can. Boy, I'm getting tired. So I didn't hear the plinks I was hoping for. I heard a few. They feel like they're down. They're pretty hot, but those need to stay still for 12 to 24 hours. Don't mess with them. So the second batch came out. Third batch is going in. Like I said before, some of these jars, they're just no lids on them, just water in them. That's it. Those will hold the 3 bottles that are left in position so they don't float or fall over or whatever. So 5 jars with just warm water in it from the big pot I had over on the stove. And then 3 more with pickles. And that will be the 3rd batch. And see, I bypassed the warming jars process there just by holding in the little play button here. So you don't have to warm the jars in there. I'm warming them elsewhere. So they're ready to go. Final batch. And there we go. Process done. And we are done canning up 19 jars of bread and butter pickles. It's spicy ones. Well, most of them are spicy. 15 of them are spicy. And get to see what we get out of them. Very excited about that. I'll wait for this to cool before I empty the rest of those. Remember, there's jars in there with just water in them just to hold things in place. I'll go empty that in the sink when everything's a lot cooler and it's easier to handle. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got something out of this. Maybe you got an idea or anything. If you did, please let me know in the comments how it's going for you, and or if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I enjoy answering the questions as they pop up. Please subscribe. We are trying to do more on the Presto Precise digital pressure canner as we go along. We've got more beans to do. I don't know that I'll do another video. We did a very complete video already, and if I can think of a reason to add to it, I will, but not sure. But we are still harvesting things in the garden. I've given up on the okra, of course. That we have so much okra stored now that we don't need any more. So yeah, please subscribe though to find out what's going on in the garden and everything that's happening with our harvests and other things that we talk about here on Bowtie Life. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. I do appreciate you subscribing and helping to grow the community We are a growing YouTube community, and it's exciting to see people are interested and like our content. So if you thought this was interesting, entertaining, okay, I messed that up. If you thought this was inspiring, instructional, educational, or entertaining, there's that ADD brain fog coming in right now. Be sure to click the thumbs up on this video and share it on your social media. It helps spread the videos out and let other people know. It also helps the algorithms know that this is content worth watching and learning from. Yeah, so I do want to say we got another video that we'll be recording on the Peach Scotch Bonnet fermented hot pepper sauce that's coming up, but we're doing an interesting substitute on the peaches, which I'm very excited about. Hopefully that's going to be one of the very next videos that we're recording. So that'll be delicious. I'm looking forward to that. Of course, if you saw our previous video, you can see up here, we have our 2 1/4 gallons of fermenting hot peppers that we did just, well, for me, it was yesterday. For the video, I know it's been a few days since that video came out, but it's sitting up there fermenting away, and we'll be doing taste tests on that batch when the time comes. So, yeah, please subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Thumbs up, share. Have a blessed day.